How's it going, everyone? My name is Lone Vault Wanderer, and welcome back to Borderlands: The Definitive Story, the series where we explore the main story of the original Borderlands game. In the last video, which you can find linked in the description below, we covered the introduction of Borderlands and the entire history of the game's setting, Pandora. Today, we will continue by discussing the known backstory of the game's main characters. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And also feel free to join my Discord and follow me on Twitch and Twitter, all of which are linked in the description below. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Borderlands: The Definitive Story, Part 2. Last time we left off on the planet of Pandora, with Marcus driving a bus containing 4 new Vault Hunters. These are the game's main characters and are as follows: Mordecai the Hunter, Roland the Soldier, Lilith the Siren, and Brick the Berserker. Given these characters are the protagonists of the game, it's only natural that we deep dive into each of their backstories. As explained in the last video, Vault Hunters travel to Pandora in search of the elusive vault, which is alleged to contain ancient alien technology. With this vault yet to be found, Borderlands tells the story of 4 brand new Vault Hunters that together embark on a quest to discover the vault for themselves. But thanks to a comic series called Borderlands Origins, we actually know the story of each of the Vault Hunters prior to the beginning of the game itself. So let's look at each character and their comic one by one. Starting with the Soldier. Roland is from the planet Promethea and is a former soldier of the Crimson Lance, the subsidiary army of the Atlas Corporation. One of the missions Roland completed for Atlas was in fact on Pandora, 200 clicks from New Haven. The mission begins with Roland reading a classified Atlas file, an act punishable by death because he's too low of a ranking. Later on, Roland meets with the rest of his team, Avery, Boozer, and Scraps. Soon after, their boss Higgins arrives and demands to see Roland. Higgins, on behalf of Atlas, explains that the commander congratulates Roland on his last mission, but things quickly turn sour, as Higgins angrily asks Roland why he took the aforementioned private file. Roland initially denies this, which prompts Higgins to shove him against a wall. Roland recovers and says to Higgins, "You make it sound like I'm suspicious of your actions." The scene then cuts back to Roland's team, and Boozer suspects that something is wrong, especially since Roland has been acting weird lately, like he doesn't believe he's in the Crimson Lance anymore. But back to Roland and Higgins. Roland makes it clear that he does not know anything about a file. Higgins seemingly believes Roland, stating that he could still trust him and that he has a mission for Roland and his team. Higgins describes the location of something called the Collapsed Valley, and how there's a breed of pest that is preventing the supply passage for Atlas, and Roland must take care of them. But after asking what the pests are, Higgins is vague in his answer and just says it's nothing that his team cannot handle. The next day, Roland and his team heads to the Collapsed Valley, and Roland explains to his team that Higgins told him the pests they need to exterminate are a creature called Crumblers. A baby Crumbler then confronts the team, and suddenly a herd of adult Crumblers charge at them. Avery takes higher ground with her sniper rifle and shoots one of the Crumblers dead. Boozer throws Scraps onto a larger Crumbler who takes it down, and then Boozer fires at it. Avery then holds the baby Crumbler they found earlier, but out of nowhere, she is shot in the head by Higgins, who is accompanied by Atlas soldiers. Higgins says he told Roland that he has pests to get rid of, which is implied to be Roland and his team. Higgins then tells Roland that he should have left well enough alone, and he only brought this upon himself. Roland then tells Boozer that Higgins had a file on all of their team, and he had been siphoning money from Atlas for many years, and to get away with it, he was going to get a pin on Roland's team and kill them. Higgins and his soldiers then shoot Roland and kill both Scrap and Boozer. Higgins tells Roland that the death of his friends are Roland's fault, which prompts Roland to promise he will destroy Higgins in return. But strangely, Roland is left alive to be Crumbler food, but of course he doesn't die, and 714 cycles later, he is seen at a bus stop waiting for a bus driven by none other than Marcus himself. Now to Lilith. Lilith is from the planet Dionysus, and she is one of 6 sirens. Sirens are women with mysterious backgrounds and amazing powers, and each have unique tattoos on one side of their body. At any one time, only 6 sirens can exist in the universe, and Lilith is the very first siren introduced in Borderlands. Her abilities as a siren include her phase walk, where she can enter another dimension for a short period of time, making her invisible, faster, and invulnerable to harm. Lilith's origins comic begins with her thinking to herself about her phase walk ability and how she's only one of 6 sirens. The scene then jumps years prior, when Lilith was only a little girl on the planet Honus 4651. She is with her father who is dying. He asks her to promise him that she will see the galaxy and universe, as she will see him among the stars. He then passes away, and suddenly Lilith's distinct siren tattoos appear on her arm, as she cries out to her dead father. But out of nowhere, a strange old lady then walks in front of Lilith, stating that she will not see her father in the stars, as he will simply belong to the mealworms. Lilith screams, "Who are you?" The old lady responds by stating that Lilith is a siren, and she is her song, upon which the lady shows her her own siren tattoos, explaining that she is the eldest, but she will expire in time and pass on the siren marks to another. The old lady continues by stating that Lilith is only a seed but has great power within her, and someday she will cross paths of some who will stray her path and others who will cast despair. The image at this stage shows Commandant Steele, another siren and the primary antagonist of Borderlands, who works for the Crimson Lance on Pandora as an officer. The old lady then finishes by saying she has been traveling since Lilith's birth to be there in this moment that her father died, and then tells her to do as she will, as sirens have no code, only their song. It is now Lilith's song to sing now. Suddenly, the old lady dies, leaving Lilith all alone. Time then jumps forward to Lilith as an adult on Pandora. Although unclear, it's seemingly implied that Lilith is on Pandora to search for another siren, that being Commandant Steele. Lilith is in a bar, drinking heavily, and soon gets into an argument with the bartender. The bartender pulls a gun on her, and another bar patron also does the same. Lilith then activates her phase walk ability, and the two men shoot each other through her invincible body. Suddenly the man Marcus himself enters the bar, and Lilith asks if he is the bus driver. Marcus confirms this, and also says that he's an arms dealer. So Lilith asks Marcus if Pandora is really a place with opportunity, as she's running out of planets to get murdered on. Marcus explains that Pandora is what she makes of it, and asks her if she wants to hear a story about it on the bus. Time then jumps forward again, with Lilith sitting on a bus driven by Marcus. Roland is also on the bus, and suddenly, Lilith kisses him, explaining that she's never kissed a boy before. This marks the very beginning of the relationship between Roland and Lilith. Up next is Mordecai. Mordecai is a hunter and marksman, and also utilizes his falconry skills in combat with his pet companion Bloodwing. Mordecai was born on the planet Artemis, and from a young age was proficient with weapons. When he was just 17 years old, he won an interplanetary sharpshooting contest. This was remarkable not just because of Mordecai's age, but also because all the other competitors used sniper rifles, while Mordecai simply used a revolver. Complaints of cheating from the other competitors caused Mordecai to be banned. As Mordecai got older, he then began traveling to different planets with Bloodwing. As you would expect, Mordecai's comic begins with him on Pandora, laying on the ground bruised and battered. He's then knocked out unconscious, and 8 hours later, a mysterious woman wakes him. She says to Mordecai that what happened to him could not have been done by one man, and after a brief discussion about Mordecai's companion Bloodwing, she asks who the men were that attacked him. Mordecai explains that there were 6 of them, before implying that Mordecai killed some of them. The scene then jumps back to the moment of the attack. Mordecai was looking for something when ambushed by the men. Mordecai tells the men that they will know this will end with blood being spilled, and after taunting them, they attack, upon which Mordecai defends himself, but unfortunately he's soon knocked out. Back to the current time, the woman helps Mordecai up and tells him her name is Esamir. Suddenly they encounter Marcus outside of his broken down bus, and Mordecai asks if he needs help. A man named Scooter then appears from out under the bus. Scooter is a mechanic that also appears in Borderlands. Scooter then asks Mordecai to disappear, but Marcus tells him to back off and asks if Mordecai and Esamir need a ride somewhere. They both decline, upon which Marcus gives Mordecai his card and tells him that this world needs people hungry for adventure. Esamir tells Mordecai that they need to keep moving and that she doesn't trust Marcus. When Mordecai asks why, she continues that Pandora is not a planet where he will find adventure, as no one is here to aid him. After walking for 15 miles, Mordecai and Esamir stumble on a bunch of junk cars, and when Mordecai asks Esamir why they are there, she tells him it's because he is an idiot. It was a trap all along. The same thugs that attacked Mordecai appear from out the cars, but the leader of the thugs tells Esamir that he is surprised to see her, as she has a bounty of 100,000 credits on her head. Esamir explains that she brought the thugs something far greater, Mordecai, who is worth at least 1 million credits to the right buyer, such as Atlas or Hyperion. Esamir proposes to the thugs that they split the bounty money and they walk away happy. Mordecai tells her that she has made a mistake, and then calls upon his trusty pet companion, Bloodwing, who provides enough of a distraction to allow Mordecai to slice off Esamir's arm. Bloodwing then attacks one of the men, and Mordecai tells the rest of the thugs that they either take Esamir and claim her bounty, or they'll die. Mordecai explains that he came to Pandora to make for a better life, not for all of this, so he's happy to give up Esamir's bounty for himself. The thugs accept Mordecai's deal and they take away Esamir. Then, to end the comic, Mordecai picks up Marcus's card, which is dropped on the ground, implying that he will take up Marcus on his offer. And finally we come to Brick. Brick was born on the planet of Minotius. He is a berserker, favoring the use of melee attacks and explosives. Brick is even able to enter a state called berserking, where he rages out and increases both his strength and health regenerative abilities for a brief period. Brick's comic starts off with him on Pandora walking alone. Suddenly, Marcus's bus stops in front of Brick, and Marcus asks him to jump aboard, where Roland, Mordecai, and Lilith are all waiting. Roland then asks Brick what his story is, but he doesn't say anything. Lilith then asks for Brick's name, and he gives her an actual brick. The scene then jumps back in time to another planet. Brick is part of a convoy of cars, with several of the men on board holding guns. The driver of one of the cars, Crush, who was also the gang's leader, makes very clear that they are on their way to take a city and steal their most valuable possessions. When they arrive at this city, they begin shooting the civilians. Crush then yells out to the people that they will be kidnapping their children, and if they want them back, they'll need to pay a lot of money. One of the civilians then speaks out in response but quickly gets shot. Crush says that they have 1 hour to comply. But then out of nowhere, Brick appears and just sits down on the ground. Crush asks what he is doing as they already have the kids. Brick just stares at him and says nothing. One of the men, Rantcar, tells Crush that they need to get out of there because the townspeople look mad. So Crush just tells his men to leave Brick alone. Later that night, Brick is locked up in a jail, but punches through a wall and breaks out. An old man then appears and holds a gun towards Brick, saying that he is a prisoner and can't leave. Brick keeps walking, telling the old man to stop him. The old man then asks Brick where he is going. Brick responds with that he is going to get their kids back. It seems that Brick has had a change of heart from his criminal ways. Brick then travels to Crush's encampment, and on entry, Crush shines a bright light on Brick, saying that they've already done all the hard work, and asks if he really thought that he'd be allowed back into the gang. Brick then yells out, "No children," and proceeds to punch Crush and the rest of the gang. They try to fight back, but Brick overpowers them all. Then the next morning, Brick returns to town with all of their captured children. One of the kids remarks that he's never seen anyone punch so many people to death and calls Brick a hero. Brick is very happy to see the children reunited with their parents. Then one of the captured kids comes back to Brick with a puppy, Priscilla, and gives her to Brick. The scene then jumps again to the current time on the bus, and Brick is holding something around his neck. This turns out to be a necklace of that dog's paw, and from the look of the paw, the dog seemed to have grown to a full age and passed away. Thank you for watching this episode of Borderlands: The Definitive Story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and feel free to join my Discord and follow me on Twitch and Twitter, all of which are linked in the description below. Also, give a big thank you to those who contributed to the Borderlands wiki site run by Fandom, also linked in the description below, as the information contained there helped me immensely with the script for this video. So until next time, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourself, and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.